Okay, let's check out this interview, and hopefully Andrew Tate did not incriminate himself further. So let's check this out and see how it went.
With the BBC today.
Yep.
The material is going to be published on television, on radio, online.
Perfect.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations.
Correct.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue that a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
It's the concern about the influence you have being a harmful influence, but let's start with the
Is that true?
Not necessarily a harmful influence. The fact that
Because I know there are videos of Andrew Tate saying how he exploits girls. There are videos of Andrew Tate, he himself,
Have you raped anybody?
saying how he goes about in recruiting the girls that work for his sex scam industry. He sleeps with them. He makes them feel as if he's going to fall in love with them, as if they're the one. He makes them feel and believe as if they're going to get married and live forever after. And then he gets his top girl, his top G, to convince them to go live on. He's done that. And also there's one thing he said he does. He actually fakes tax record, present them to the girls, which show them paying a lot more tax, and then he pockets the money. Then why is he saying that he has never exploited girls? Oh, let's open this. Let's break this open. If what he said in those videos were true, would he say that on YouTube? Because definitely those girls will be able to see that on YouTube. Or was it just a way to attract more traffic on his platform? Again, he was also using these same methods to get people to sign up for his PhD degree program, which was, what was it? Is it PIMHO degree? Anyway, it was a degree which he was teaching men how to start up a sex cam industry. That's something that I never thought of. If really he was doing that, he would not go out and snitch on himself, because those girls will be able to see that. Yeah.
Using emotional manipulation to get women to...
That's why he should not be doing this interview.
Firstly, let's begin.
They always say,
let's start at the beginning.
if you're on trial,
the first one
if you're being investigated, try to speak as less
it's very difficult for me to sit
as possible,
frank and honest conversation
especially
while we're in the territory
when you're being interviewed by a journalist.
within Romania.
Speak only to your lawyers,
Agreed to do an interview with you. I don't want to be
because whatever you say might be used against you in the court of law. So this interview to me was ill advised. And the second part of this interview, which to me was ill advised, was them allowing the BBC to send a female journalist to interview Andrew Tate. Because most of those accusations that are levied against Andrew Tate are from women. And you never know her perspective. So, even if I was the one to accept to be interviewed by the BBC, I will request for a male journalist, not a female.
possible, but I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
There are no charges yet.
Correct. There are no charges.
Has said that
there are no charges,
and
I've agreed to speak to you, but I have to be as honest and frank as I can, while also protecting myself and following my legal counsel.
So let's talk about what you've said.
He's not saying no. He didn't say that. No woman is coming out to accuse him. But I think there are women who are accusing him already. So why is he saying that there are no women? Because,
as I said,
he's being investigated at the moment, which means somebody has accused him of something. So why is he saying there are no women? So if those two American women have been caught admitting that they're lying, why has the case not been dropped?
No, they're not. Who?
Why? Why is the case still being investigated?
The current investigation, which I cannot discuss, which I know intimately and you don't.
He knows the case more than me anyway, so he knows what he's talking about.
Who are in this case file, there are two American women who have been caught already admitting they're lying, and then nobody else is accusing me of anything.
To begin with, it's very common in cases like this that the alleged victims do not always see themselves as victims.
Well, that's very interesting. It's actually extremely interesting because if I was a matrix-controlled organization and my goal was to slander somebody and try and destroy their name, you're telling me that they've chosen a crime which, one, is heinous, of course, because it damages the person's credibility, and two, you're saying that even if everyone else involved, if you have 5 people and everyone's sitting there saying, no, nobody's hurt anybody, we like Andrew, we've all worked together, or we're friends, etc.
That's not what everybody's saying.
No.
Let me read you some of the testimony from the current investigation.
Can I finish this?
One of the witnesses said...
Can I finish, please?
You're not answering the question I've asked you. You're not answering the question I've asked you.
I am answering the question. You're
Let
saying,
me read you the testimony of one of the witnesses.
You're saying the people who are involved in this, even if they say they're not victims, that they're still going to try and attack me and pretend they're victims.
They are treated as victims by the case that's ongoing. And not all of them are saying that. One of the witnesses says...
That's good.
We can't go into the case. The case is open and active.
Well, let's just be clear that not all of the witnesses in the case are behaving in the way you describe. And even those that are, it doesn't bar them from being treated as victims by the prosecution by the case.
We have an open criminal investigation. I am absolutely not really sure I'll be found innocent. I know the case better than you. I know it intimately and you don't. I have seen all the criminal files and the evidence against me and you haven't. I know the truth of what happened and you don't. And I'm telling you absolutely not really, I've never hurt anybody, that the case that's been put against me is completely and utterly fabricated. And I'm never going to be found guilty of anything. And it's very difficult for me to answer your in-depth questions because we're sitting here inside of the territory of Romania. I'm beholden to the Romanian legal system. And I'm not going to incriminate myself because you're trying to prod me. You are wrong, and we're going to have to accept that for now and talk about something else.
Should we just watch the video and see if he said that?
Not get a girl to work for you, you haven't fucked. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You fuck the girl. After you fuck the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me. So, as I said, you cannot try and approach girls to do webcam. Hi, do you want to do webcam? It's bullshit. It doesn't work. No one's going to say yes. And any girl who does say yes is doing it. She doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She's saying yes purely for money. I'm going to sneeze. And any girl who wants money that bad is going to skank you and leave you when she realizes you get a big cut of it. So even if you do get a girl to say yes that way, even if you do say to a girl, look, let's make some money, she's only in it for the money. She's not in it to please you. And if she's only in it for the money, she's going to get pissed off with her cut. Because they're going to Google up how much a token's worth, how many tokens they made, and all that shit. They're going to get pissed off with their cut. Remember the tax thing, so you only have to pay them 30% instead of 50%. It's important for your profitability. So you don't want a girl who's in it for money. You want a girl who's in it to be with you. So you meet a girl, you take her on dates, you fuck her, whatever. She passes the PhD test. Then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always...
You have done.
Yeah, I think we should do
You
that.
have said My job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam
Did
so
he?
we could become rich together.
Let's cut
I
it.
don't think that's what I personally said. I think
That's
that's
exactly what
no,
you said
that's
on your
that's
website.
In your own words. And it's your face.
That's no, I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet. Doesn't mean I've said it.
In
And
your
and again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. It's actually very interesting that
So
me, one of the
2,000
people
women
who
know
is
this guy.
vilified by the
2,000
media,
women.
all over the internet.
So you can
Everyone is attacked
literally
every single
pick up the
angle,
phone and
while
call
federal agencies in multiple
2,000
countries have called
women.
2,000 women who know me. We stand here with zero new
2,000
accusations since my arrest.
women.
Zero. If you took any famous person
Who can
any man
vouch
with
for Andrew
substantial
Tate?
wealth,
2,000.
2,000 women who knew him.
Wow.
He'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint.
The BBC
The only,
has that one.
the only complaints they have against me are the initial complaints, which we can prove are lies, and that's where it stands. So I'm not going to sit here and allow you to pretend that I'm some kind of evil predator, when actually I'd argue the fact that people who've been investigated to the level I've been investigated to, if you were to take the average man on the street and investigate his entire life for 14 months, call everyone who's ever known him, and vilify him in the media, and encourage people to come forward for money, and you try to contact...
Yeah,
the
that's Sophie. That's Sophie. That Sophie is not... because the way even she... The way she agreed that it's Sophie makes it look suspicious. It's a Sophie in quote. It's Sophie with a name without a face.
Exactly those things. That with you,
That one,
manipulation, there's
I think that
Is
one
this
is...
Sophie?
everything
Is this
you-
That one
Sophie?
is bullshit.
Oh, it's Sophie, the fake name, no face, no
I
one...
was so
the-
This is the part that every Andrew Tate supporter is going to pick. This part of the Sophie, of the imaginary Sophie. There is a part that is going to be all over the internet. Because people are going to pounce on this one. An imaginary Sophie.
And what is
Who
she,
is Sophie?
She accused me of a crime.
Where is Sophie?
Sophie?
Sophie, we need to see you. We need to see your face. Where are you, Sophie?
And I'm
Does Sophie exist? Hello? Hello? I don't think so. Oh. Oh. You see? That is why I said they shouldn't have allowed a female journalist to come and interview Andrew Tate. This is going to trigger him. Because from all what we know about Andrew Tate,
correct. but you're
women
not boss
are
because I've allowed you into my house
lesser than men.
correctly, and I'm
Women are not equal to men. So when you send a woman to interview Andrew Tate, and with him being under investigation from stuff that women have accused him of, and then you send a woman to come and ask him about those stuff, what do you expect? What do you expect? His team shouldn't have allowed a woman to interview him. And Andrew Tate, this was a chance for you to prove. I don't know if you're proving to anybody anyway. I don't know if whatever you do here is going to have any say in the investigation. But this was a chance for you to be calm. Show a different side of you. Not to try and put your pressure, not to try and... This was a time for you to... This guy was a champion. This guy was a champion in the mixed martial art competition. This guy was a European champion. He should know how to behave when he's under pressure. He should know that you have to be calm. You don't attack fire with fire. Calm down. This is the time he should have calmed down, really. The thing is, he said he's giving them relevant. The BBC had long existed before Andrew Tate. The BBC is still going to be there after Andrew Tate. So he's not really giving the BBC any relevance. It's the other way. Because there are so many platforms. There's so many platforms he would have granted this interview to. There's so many podcast platforms with millions of views. For example, he would have given this interview to Patrick Bet-David. He would have given this interview to which other big podcast is there? Which other big podcast? Maybe to is it Andrew Schultz? He would have the Flagrant podcast. They've got a massive view. He would have given this interview even to Jake Paul, even to Logan Paul. But because he wanted the BBC, because the BBC is a more credible news outlet. The BBC is a place where it's going to make him be important. Because if the BBC is coming to his house to talk to him, that means he's important. So he shouldn't turn around and say that he's giving the BBC relevant. Or does it mean he's giving Lucy relevant? It might be Lucy, not the BBC, because the BBC is bigger than Andrew Tate. Yes.
No face of. Nobody knows who she is.
The BBC did not invent.
Of course not. And because you never invent anything. And she's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about here? What is she saying?
Talking about emotional manipulation into the sex industry for your financial gain.
Absolute garbage. She has not filed criminal. This person, if they exist, has not filed criminal charges against me. I welcome anybody who believes I've harmed them, male or female, any point in the past to file criminal
the problem with him saying that
I know what I've done.
victims are saying they're not victims. What about domestic violence, where a woman can be abused by a man, but she still stays there because she loves the man?
That doesn't matter because the state will say they're victims.
The law is going to come, even if the woman says, no, I'm fine, they are still going to take him to court and he's still going to be charged if he's found guilty. It doesn't mean, this is also where we have to talk about pimping. Just like he said, I get a girl as young as, he said, 17, 16, convince her that I love her, have sexual intercourse with her, make sure that she understands that she's the one, make her believe that without me she's nothing. Once you have, that's called grooming. That's called grooming. And most groomers are for sexual exploitation. And most of those girls who are being owned by pimps, they will never accept that they are being exploited. Even if you ask them, they will say, no, he's doing me a favor. Why? Because like the type of girls he gets the young ones who are less, who have seen less money, who have seen less luxury, who haven't traveled the world. So he shows them that. And once he shows them that, he then uses them to make a lot more money. And those girls will never say they're being exploited. Those girls will tell you that Andrew Tate is doing me a favor. So that part is saying doesn't make sense. In a way, he's so arrogant.
Matrix attack. You're not describing human trafficking.
I'm describing women who are going to court.
Sophie has not accused you, so stop talking about Sophie.
We will see what women go to court at the end of this trial.
Please?
We'll see which women go to court.
Can I finish, please?
We'll see which women go to court.
Andrew Tate, those are your words. Those are your words, and we have videos of you saying those words.
Women who have spoken to the BBC.
You snitch on yourself long time ago.
Organizations about what they say is
those are your words. So if you sit here and try and deny the fact that you have said this and they have them on record, they have them on tape, then you are not actually doing yourself a favor.
And Sophie doesn't exist. So let's move on to the next subject. Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute. So there's other places in that same website.
Not some text, some videos.
Fall in love with you, and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you
Andrew
say.
Tate, that was your website.
To take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you.
Once again,
does he actually know that people have screenshots of this website? People have these things recorded as evidence. Does he know that?
Your website.
It's not. They're not accusing you.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website. Next.
They are not accusing you. They are saying what you've said. So if I was the one, I'll be trying to, or his lawyer should be giving him signs. Don't try and defend that. Move over. Say no comment. Move over. That's what you should be doing. Instead of denying what you said.
You are accusing me.
And it's on record.
What you're trying to say is you're accusing me and you're trying to say
these things are on record. Come on, dude.
I'm saying that you have said you emotionally manipulated people here for your own financial gain.
No, absolutely not.
And I'm asking you about that.
Absolutely not is the answer. I look forward to the end of this trial. I look forward to clearing my name. I look forward to the BBC and the legacy media having to say not guilty and having to tell the truth. As I've said before, the only other person who's been found, despite absolute rigorous, destructive levels of investigation and prodding into my life, is this imaginary Sophie by the BBC who doesn't exist. And if you were to find,
do we all remember those priests in Ireland who were molesting children?
To the level they've done mine, you would find genuine damage to people. I don't hurt people.
When they were accused of molesting children, I bet you a few people were trying to be on the defense.
Thousands of women come out of my defense.
Because the problem is when
there are thousands and thousands of people who can tell you those priests were good, but they were bad because they were molesting children. So it doesn't mean if 1,000 people come to your defense, one person can still accuse you of a crime, and if you are guilty, you are guilty. It doesn't matter if 1,000 other people will say you were good, but one person might come out and say you did some bad things to them, and that means if you'll be taken to court, and if that person is saying the truth, and if you actually did what she or he has accused you of, then you go to jail. It doesn't matter if 10,000 people come and say good things about you, you are still going to jail. Yeah, you've done. Yeah. So when you go to court, are you gonna just say thousands of people said I'm a good person? Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, let's agree that thousands of women. Let's agree that thousands.
It's not the problem that some people say you haven't done it. It's a problem that some people say you have.
Thousands of women come out in my defense, and as we stand right now, we have an open criminal investigation. The people who are involved in the criminal investigation are saying that we're not victims of anything. Andrew's fine, he's never hurt us. You're saying, no, I have the opposite to that. I have to counter that. I have someone called Sophie with no face, a fake name, who we've invented, and she's not accusing you of anything criminal. So
that wasn't good. That was not good. That was not good. That was trying to tell her that she is not a good journalist. Which, if she wasn't a good journalist, how did you accept her to come to your house and interview you?
You've printed something off that you found on Reddit.
That's why I said.
You sit here and say that makes me a bad person. I'm saying that you should know better
male
as a
journalist would have been preferable.
Let's investigate the fact that
because if this was a male journalist, trust me, Andrew Tate would not have used those words. That is not good.
I already have, and we should move on. She's just trying to start an argument.
It's not only about the criminal allegations. It's a much bigger issue. You've got children's organisations in the UK, you've got rape organisations in the UK, you've got the police naming you by name as someone who has a harmful influence on children and on women in the UK and elsewhere because of the things you say, because of the way you present gender relations, the way you say men should treat women.
That's very upsetting, and the reason that's very upsetting is because I know that's not true. I'm genuinely a good person. I believe my impact on the world is positive. In fact, if you were to read the comment section of nearly any video I post, especially by the legacy media, 95% of the population agree with me. Most people know that the things I say are positive. Legacy
the fact that Andrew Tate preaches some good stuff
and it's a shame.
Does not negate the fact that people are accusing him of doing some bad things to them.
I'm anti-drugs.
Accused, he's not guilty.
But
but the fact that he's preaching, a drug dealer will also preach the same thing. A drug dealer will tell you, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. But it's a drug dealer. A killer might also tell you not to do this. A killer might also promote good life, good living standard, but they kill people. So it doesn't mean that when you just promote things, you might not be liable, or is it liable? Promoting things doesn't mean that you are completely a good person. A lot of people have been found guilty for doing heinous crime, but those same people were promoting good life standard, promoting all good stuff in the society. Those priests I just mentioned in Ireland, they were preaching, they were doing confession, they were promoting good life, they were telling people to pray, to repent, to be good to the neighbors. But what were they doing? They were doing the worst of the worst crimes. So I think he said that. I think he said that in one of his videos.
Said you're the most dangerous man in the world.
I think he said that in one of his
The most
videos.
dangerous man in the world.
And by the way,
that a woman's intimate parts belong
there's
to
one
her
other
partner.
video
I'm
which
glad you
Andrew
find that
Tate
funny.
I find it funny that you're sitting here
was
saying that I said the
interviewed
most
by
dangerous man in the world.
another
You believe
podcaster,
that's-
and in that
When did I
video,
say that?
Andrew Tate
I'm
did
asking if you
admit
believe it.
No, you said
That
you're the most dangerous man in the world.
he
That's
has
the kind of
made
proof I'm
so
dangerous, and
many
I don't
people to
believe
go
that.
bankrupt,
I'm telling you that
to
it's
sell
very
their houses.
upsetting.
So many people have
Certain organizations
completely have their life
pretend that I'm the
thrown
biggest
into the
people on
bin
earth when I'm genuinely
because they fell for his sex scam girls. They sold everything that they had. They emptied their bank account and they sent the money to him. So is that promoting a good life? Is that a good way of life? You know, those people, they might commit suicide. They might have their families taken away from them. They might have their kids taken out of school. They might... He was just breaking families. If it was true what he said, then that wasn't a good way to promote life. That wasn't a good way to push his narrative of being a good human being to the world. That wasn't.
a force for good. I'm genuinely a force
Not
for
what
good.
I've said.
And the reason they're doing this is because of the massive influence I have over the youth, and they don't like that I'm telling the youth to think outside of the matrix and ignore things like the BBC, which come here with loaded questions and false narratives and try and paint innocent.
Concerning being a religious man, I watched his he was on a podcast with his friend from Dubai.
She takes his last
The
name,
guy is
traditional
also
Indian
Brit,
way.
and he lives in Dubai. He owns a gym.
Traditional religious
After the interview,
beliefs, because I'm a religious man.
the guy
and
said,
traditional beliefs in regards to marriage.
everything that
Everybody
Andrew Tate
accepted
does,
10 to 15 years ago.
he
that's
is-
not
supportive.
that's not
but
a
he
crazy
does not support him running a sex scam company. So if you are a religious man, as you say, you will not be running a sex scam industry. No religious person can be taken serious if you're running a prostitution. So if he claims to be a religious person, he wouldn't have started, or maybe he's changed. Let's say he changed along the way. He found Allah. He found Allah and he converted into a Muslim. Let's assume that. Let's not judge.
crazy conspiracy theory. If you're going to sit here and say that me believing a woman should take a man's last name in marriage makes me the most dangerous man in the world, then you're just going to lose even more credibility than the BBC's already lost in the last 4 to 5 years. If that's your point, if that's your narrative you want to push,
say that
good
men
luck.
should be able to sleep with a lot of women outside marriage. That doesn't sound very religious or very conservative.
That's not what I said they should be able to. I said a lot of high-value men, a lot of rich men do it. And then we discussed at length on podcasts why rich men do it. And we also discussed why women decide to be unfaithful. It's not a gendered argument. We discussed unfaithfulness as a whole. What are the reasons and motivations for men, and what are the reasons and motivations for women? Because you have no time to actually, watch my content, because you have no time to actually watch my content at length and understand what I'm saying.
Is that the behavior of a guilty person? Is that the behavior of somebody who actually
No, completely. You don't have a clue
knows that
what
he's
I
in the
say
deep
or
end?
what I talk about. You never watch my content.
Because
You have
once
small
you-
pieces of paper,
once
small
you
clips on a piece of
start
paper,
to be
you're
so
trying to pretend I said
defensive,
evil things.
once you
And then
start
you're
to
saying I'm the
try
most dangerous man in
and
the world, which is truly laughable.
and be the guy of authority because
Do
it's
you
your
believe I'm the most
house,
dangerous man in the world, Lucy?
I'm not answering your
that
question.
starts to
Well, then
say something
we
different
need
about
to
you.
change the dynamic of this interview because
The BBC requested for an interview.
I'm doing you a favor. Giving
You
the
accepted.
I'm giving to the public. You don't come here
Because you believe in the BBC.
I don't respect the BBC.
Because Andrew Tate would have gone to
Not
any
the
of these
authority.
massive
We are
podcasts.
equals. We are people.
Podcasts that are, as I said, Patrick Bet-David's podcast has, I don't know, it gets like 3 million views. It's massive, it's huge. And he would have loved it to fly to Romania to sit with, because it's his friend. I don't know if they're friends per se, but he is in favor, he supports Andrew Tate. He would have been happy to come and do this interview. So if Andrew Tate allowed the BBC to come, it's because he sees the BBC as a credible news network to do his first interview. So now, he shouldn't turn around and start to... Let's carry on. We've still got a long way to go. It's not a conversation because she's a journalist from the BBC. And she comes to your house to ask you questions, not for a conversation. If you want to do a conversation, you should have done this with one of the podcasters. That's where you have conversations. When a journalist comes to you, it's to sit and ask you questions so you can clarify some of the things you've said before, and you can give answers that probably clears your name and cleans your image. It's not a conversation.
Asking questions and you answer.
But I don't owe, no,
however you want.
this is a conversation. And I don't owe you any degree of authority over me. So let's make that clear. And that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or from the BBC.
Oh, she is a journalist. She's here to ask you questions, bro. You haven't.
BBC or the CNN. I'm here to answer your questions and be honest with you and do you a favor.
Great.
And I'm doing you a favor. But you come here with loaded questions. You're trying to paint a narrative of me which is negative.
I'm asking you about things you've said that people are concerned about.
And that's fine. But you're not going to sit here and say you don't answer my questions because you're not above me.
This is also not supposed to be a third degree. It's supposed to be a conversation.
Absolutely.
Well, it would help if you answered the question.
I've answered every question so far.
Let me ask another question.
Sure.
You have said that a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner, and if she goes on OnlyFans, he is entitled to a cut of her income.
No, but I think like you say a lot of stuff about women, like that they're your property.
That's not what I said. I was talking about an OnlyFans company when that question was asked. But I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So if she wants to do OnlyFans, she owes him some money because she's his. Yes, that's what I said.
Think
that's crazy.
You think if a
that
man,
one's crazy.
So you think that a man going out with a girl that's just your property? There can't be an equal relationship?
No. That one was nuts.
Okay,
that one was nuts.
This
is where it goes crazy.
Cool.
No, that one you can. If I understood what you said, that if a guy and a girl is dating and a girl does OnlyFans, she owes him a cut.
No, 100%. 100%.
She is his girl.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Because she's his.
Yeah, so that's
so that is you saying that women are your property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him and the intimate parts of her body belong to him because they're in a relationship. And if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in those intimate parts of her body.
So it's reverse. Male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know, because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's given over.
That's inherently where
this is
are extremely. It's actually it's very confusing.
Not laughable. This is insulting to the
format podcasts I've done.
She is a BBC qualified
context.
She knows what sarcasm is. She knows
where we've been joking.
She knows, and she knows everything he's asking. And because she's a woman, he is just letting her know that you are too low for me.
I don't know if you understand what
Again,
sarcasm is.
bad idea to have a woman
I
come
don't know if you understand what context is. I don't know if you understand what rhetorical context is.
So you're saying it's sarcastic?
I'm saying it was a very interesting.
She's not interested in watching the show. She's not interested. She doesn't need to watch the show.
Interesting talk show. And for you to sit here and say that that is my true core beliefs and that makes me a bad person is disingenuous.
Is it?
Of course not.
Was it sarcasm?
Absolutely. You should watch the show.
You were being sarcastic when you said. Let me just clarify.
You should watch the show.
Let me clarify for the audience. You were being sarcastic when you said a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner.
No.
You didn't believe that.
No, it's not that. It's that you haven't watched the show at length, and you should have, because the woman was saying, my man's car belongs to me because he's my man. And she was on OnlyFans. And then 20 minutes later, when she said she was on OnlyFans, I said, well, you're selling your body, that belongs to him because he's your man. And she laughed. She laughed and she said, yeah, that's probably true. If you watch the show, it will make sense. For you to come here with doing no research at all and then say, I don't understand what I'm talking about, but I've got this piece of paper with a few things printed off, that's why you're saying the silly things you're saying. You should watch the show, do some research.
Do you believe it?
Dude, they're not trying to find out how. They're not trying to find out your influence of the world. They're trying to. They're trying to let you clarify some of the things you've said. Nobody gives a rat ass how influential you are to the world right now.
It's not a
The
gender
things you've said
argument.
before,
I really think
that's the
it's
reason why they are
genuinely
here.
sad
For you to
that when
clarify the
BBC
things
has
you've
a
said.
chance to finally interview me at the
For
end
you,
of the
like what you've said
that they
before,
don't come here with any
it was
kind of
sarcasm.
genuine openness
It
to
was
try and
satirical.
understand my influence over
You were not
the
serious
things I push, or what I'm trying
when
to
you were
change
saying
the
what you
world,
said.
or why I'm a
That
good
the
influence in the
OnlyFans
world
page
than
girls
I
have to
see
give
them.
everything to their boyfriends. Like everything, every money they make from showing their asses on the internet or whatever. That is why she is here. She's here for you to clarify those things you've said before and probably to say something about which you're not supposed to say, by the way, because the case is still ongoing. So why is she talking about they should ask him his influence?
The National Police Chief's League for Violence Against Women, the NSPCC, rape crisis.
I know a lot of people are going to be so happy with this performance, but I don't think this performance of Andrew Tate is good.
The idea that I made primary school children misogynistic because I own a nice car. Is that your argument?
It's the misogyny that comes along with it.
Oh, owning a nice car is misogynist.
No, it's the
Got
misogyny that comes along with it.
How does misogyny come along with owning a nice car?
Because
Of course, he said that. Why is he denying everything he said before?
You have an image of financial
answer my
success.
questions, as you should.
Excuse me.
Oh,
You
there are
have an image of
nuances.
Financial success, but it comes along with attitudes towards women that are really problematic.
My attitudes towards women is that women should be protected and provided for, and I've said that at length. In fact, I've said that over 50 times online, you never mention it. I say that my girlfriend doesn't have to work unless she wants to, I take care of her, I die to protect a woman.
You know that's being called controlling. What you've just said now.
In return, you want authority
It's controlling.
over the way you have over a child or a dog.
Absolutely not. I've said that women should be protected and provided for. And
in return, you want authority over her, because if you have responsibility for someone like a child or a dog, you say, you have authority over them.
If you want to go down this argument, we'll go down this nuanced argument. I said that if I have responsibility for her safety, I should have a degree of authority over her safety. Meaning, and let me explain my point. If I'm the one who has to fight and die to protect her, I'm the one who decides how we walk home. I'm the one who decides the route we take. Because it's unfair for her to say, I want to walk through the most dangerous neighborhood in the world, but you have to face the knives. That's what I've said. And then you're going to sit here and pretend that I'm trying to treat women like dogs, which is garbage. Every single man in the world who loves his woman understands that he has to protect her. And every single woman in the world likes the idea of a man who would protect her. If you were to say to most women home right now, do you want your husband to protect you in a violent attack? They'd say, yeah, of course. Nothing I've said.
But she's not going to say that. No woman will say that. What is he talking about? No woman will say that. Once you tell a woman that there's danger on that side, we shouldn't go that way, she is not going to want to go that way. What is he talking about?
To having authority over a child or a dog, it's not the same, because a woman is a free, legal adult.
Correct.
You're equal.
Free, legal adult, my equal. But if I had a girlfriend and we were walking home late at night, and I said, let's not walk down that area, it's a bad area, I have to protect you if anything happens, I want to take the long way. And she said, no, I have to walk this way, even though it's the most dangerous route, I must.
Then what?
Then I would say, you're welcome to, you could do it, you're a free and legal equal, but I'm not going to walk with you and protect you. I think that I should be able to decide the route. Because I have an obligation.
Oh.
And my obligation as a man is to protect and provide for females. Everything I'm talking about is traditional gender roles, which 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, would not be considered outlandish, would not be considered crazy, would not be considered dangerous or misogynistic.
All right, what I'll do now is I'll quickly go on my phone and I'll check some of the comments from this interview. I'll just check some of the comments.
Protecting them and providing for them. And just because the world has gone crazy and the legacy media has gone crazy, most people at home are still relatively sane. And these are the people who are going to write on the comments that Andrew isn't saying anything that's outlandish.
You know, Andrew Tate I think he is same like Donald Trump. They are always on the defensive. When Donald Trump says something, when he's caught lying, he always says, I didn't say that. Just like him now. I'm going to check some of the comments and see what people are saying.
I'm having a nice conversation with you, so I'm enjoying it. So it's no problem. It's been fun so far. It's fine. We good?
Yes.
Tell me when.
Do you want to clap again?
Yes, no, we didn't stop, no?
I can do the clap. Now we good?
No, thank you. Thanks.
If a man broke into your house, wouldn't you want your husband to protect you?
There's a difference between conservative values.
The video now has got 4.2 million views in 3 days.
And I'm saying
And it's got 61,000 comments.
Values or protection, it's what you're demanding in return for that.
Well, I'll give you this. I don't know who.
That's what I was saying. Somebody says, the fact that she takes it all extremely personal says it all. An activist, not a reporter. She's a journalist.
You and the other women in this room could protect yourself.
She is asking me questions regarding what he said.
Even though I don't know you,
but that's what I said from the start. Bringing a woman to interview Andrew Tate was a bad idea. His team would have opted for a man. I don't know if it's going to work on his favor. I don't know.
You have said that have caused major national organizations, including the police, to worry about you by name. That's what I'm asking.
Somebody says, I'm 19 years old, I'm pregnant with my first child, a boy. And Andrew is someone I will be proud of my son to look up to. The fact this woman so badly wants to pin him as this misogynistic, horrible human being when he is the most honorable man in today's public eye is just sad. Why do so many women hate strong men? Fair point.
Instruction of God to do good things, and I want to make the world a better place. I genuinely believe my legacy is a good legacy. And I believe that eventually, when the legacy media catches up, they're going to understand I'm a good, positive influence. I'm not interested in damaging the world for money. Because if I was interested in damaging
there are some fantastic comments. I'm just going to leave that for after.
Stab each other like all the drill artists do.
Or you can make controversial statements online that attract a lot of followers who you then direct to your website where they pay to learn how to be like you.
I mean, I could make jokes online. Who doesn't? I mean, I could make a joke online.
Are you saying that all the controversial things you've said are jokes?
No, I'm saying that these organizations and the BBC who are going to sit here and pretend that I am the face of damaging the youth is absolutely garbage. It's completely disingenuous.
I'm
sorry,
we have agreed to do an interview where you are going to ask questions that are going to give us the opportunity to clarify some things. These are very loaded questions. And so far, I'm sorry, I have arranged this and I'm talking right now. So, these are very loaded questions, and this is not what we discussed, and this is not the conversation that we agreed to.
We were very clear that the questions
You're sitting there and just accusing, we're not here to face new allegations, this has all been discussed, answers have been provided, so if we could please move on from this side of the interview, I would appreciate it.
I would like to hear what Andrew's got to say about the fact that when you make controversial statements, it attracts people to follow you, and then you direct them to your website where they pay you a monthly fee to learn how to be like you. And so the more...
She's not interested in watching the show. She's not interested.
Interesting talk show. And for you to sit here and say that that is my true core beliefs and that makes me a bad person is disingenuous.
Is it?
Of course not.
Was it sarcasm?
Absolutely. You should watch the show.
You were being sarcastic when you said... Let me just clarify.
You should watch the show.
Let me clarify for the audience. You were being sarcastic when you said a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner.
No.
You didn't believe that.
No, it's not that. It's that you haven't watched the show at length, and you should have, because the woman was saying, my man's car belongs to me because he's my man. And she was on OnlyFans. And then 20 minutes later, when she said she was on OnlyFans, I said, well, you're selling your body, that belongs to him because he's your man. And she laughed, she laughed, and she said, yeah, that's probably true. If you watch the show, it will make sense. For you to come here with doing no research at all, and then say, I don't understand what I'm talking about, but I've got this piece of paper with a few things printed off, that's why you're saying the silly things you're saying. You should watch the show, do some research.
Do you believe it?
Dude, they're not trying to find out how... They're not trying to find out your influence of the world. They're trying to... They're trying to let you clarify some of the things you've said. Nobody gives a rat ass how influential you are to the world right now.
It's not
the things you've said before,
I really think
that's the reason why they're here. For you to clarify the things you've said. For you, like what you've said before, it was sarcasm. It was satirical. You were not serious when you were saying what you said. That the OnlyFans page girls have to give everything to their boyfriends. Like every money they make from showing their asses on the internet or whatever. That's why she is here. She's here for you to clarify those things you've said before and probably to say something about which you're not supposed to say, by the way, because the case is still ongoing. So why is she talking about they should ask him his influence? the court of public opinion is not going to be there when the case starts. So if you're depending on the court of public opinion, it might fail you.
Instead, they come here with pieces of paper with printed out excerpts from 5-year-old podcasts, taken out of context, to attempt the same matrix attack on me, which has been attempted endlessly. Every single person in Legacy Media has already tried this, and it doesn't work. I really encourage you. I encourage you to read the comment section on YouTube when this goes on YouTube, and you will see that nobody believes a word you're saying.
The reason I'm asking you about these comments is because we've got the chief executive of Rape Crisis naming you individually as spreading a dangerous ideology of misogynistic rape culture.
Absolute.
It's the comments you make that are leading people to say things like
absolute garbage.
Don't forget you're teaching young men how to be pimps. That one is also important. We're teaching young men how to be pimps.
Saying they are having increased incidents of girls being attacked, of female teachers being harassed.
If that was
by
true,
pupils, because of you and your teaching,
well, that's absolute garbage. I have never, ever encouraged a student to attack a teacher, male or female, ever. I preach hard work, discipline. I'm an athlete. I preach anti-drug. I preach religion. I preach no alcohol. I preach no knife crime. Every single problem with modern society, I'm against. I'm teaching young men to be disciplined, to be diligent, to listen, to train, to work hard, to be exactly like me, with no criminal record, never even yet charged in this 14-month Matrix investigation. And I'm saying that if men grew up like me, which are hardworking and diligent and some emotional control and stoic, we're going to have a better society, not a worse society. To sit here and say that schools in England, which is a failing nation, which has knife crime going through the roof, violence going through the roof, men's mental health going through the roof, and they're going to all blame me because I appeared on the internet 1 year ago, is disingenuous. It's disingenuous. And also,
financial success,
correct,
with a Bugatti and a cigar, but it comes with a side order of misogyny.
How does having a Bugatti and a cigar come with misogyny?
Because it's all mixed together in what you teach. You teach that a woman, if a woman comes home and accuses you of cheating, you should hit her with a machete, shove her up.
Is that what I teach?
That's what you say.
No, if you actually watch the clip, it will be about the woman attacking me with a machete. As usual, you've not watched the video, taken it out of context, flipped it, and attempted to attack me with a small excerpt. Let me tell you something, Lucy. I'm sure you're a very nice person. I'm sure you're a fantastic person. But if I were to take everything you've ever said online and just take small excerpts out of context, I could make you look like a misogynist. I guarantee it. In fact, I might actually do that. And then you're going to sit here and say, oh shit, I'm a misogynist because my clips have been taken out of context. If you refuse to watch anything at length and understand it, then that's what's going to happen.
The National Police Chief's League for Violence Against Women, the NSPCC, Rape Crisis...
I know a lot of people are going to be so happy with this performance, but I don't think this performance of Andrew Tate is good.
The idea that I made primary school children misogynistic because I own a nice car. Is that your argument?
It's the misogyny that comes along with it.
Oh, owning a nice car is misogynist.
No, it's the misogyny that comes along with it.
How does misogyny come along with owning a nice car?
Because
of course, he said that. Why is he denying everything he said before?
You have an image of financial
success. My questions, actually should.
Excuse me.
Oh, there are nuances.
Financial success, but it comes along with attitudes towards women that are really problematic.
My attitudes towards women is that women should be protected and provided for, and I've said that at length. In fact, I've said that over 50 times online. You never mention it. I say that my girlfriend doesn't have to work unless she wants to. I take care of her. I die to protect a woman.
You know that's called controlling. What you've just said now.
You want authority
it's controlling.
The way you have over a child or a dog.
Absolutely not. I've said that women should be protected and provided for. And
in return, you want authority over her, because if you have responsibility for someone like a child or a dog, you say, you have authority over them.
If you want to go down this argument, we'll go down this nuanced argument. I said that if I have responsibility for her safety, I should have a degree of authority over her safety. Meaning, and let me explain my point. If I'm the one who has to fight and die to protect her, I'm the one who decides how we walk home. I'm the one who decides the route we take. Because it's unfair for her to say, I want to walk through the most dangerous neighborhood in the world, but you have to face the knives. That's what I've said. And then you're going to sit here and pretend that I'm trying to treat women like dogs, which is garbage. Every single man in the world who loves his woman understands that he has to protect her. And every single woman in the world likes the idea of a man who would protect her. If you were to say to most women home right now, do you want your husband to protect you in a violent attack? They'd say, yeah, of course. Nothing I've said.
But she's not going to say that. No woman will say that. What is he talking about? No woman will say that.
legal.
Once you tell a woman that
I didn't
there's
say
danger
that. I said
on that
I need
side,
to have
we
authority
shouldn't
over
go
women
that
when we
way,
walk home.
she is not going to want to go that way. What is he talking about?
To having authority over a child or a dog, it's not the same because a woman is a free legal adult.
Correct.
You're equal.
Free legal adult, my equal. But if I had a girlfriend and we were walking home late at night, and I said, let's not walk down that area, it's a bad area, I have to protect you if anything happens, I want to take the long way. And she said, no, I have to walk this way, even though it's the most dangerous route, I must.
Then what?
And then I would say, you're welcome to, you could do it, you're a free and legal equal, but I'm not going to walk with you and protect you. I think that I should be able to decide the route. Because I have an obligation.
Oh.
And my obligation as a man is to protect and provide for females. Everything I'm talking about is traditional gender roles, which 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, would not be considered outlandish, would not be considered crazy, would not be considered dangerous or misogynistic.
All right, what I'll do now is I'll quickly go on my phone and I'll check some of the comments from this interview. I'll just check some of the comments.
Protecting them and providing for them. And just because the world has gone crazy and the legacy media has gone crazy, most people at home are still relatively sane. And these are the people who are going to write on the comments that Andrew isn't saying anything that's outlandish.
You know, Andrew Tate is, yes, I think he is same like Donald Trump. They are always on the defensive. When Donald Trump says something, when he's caught lying, he always says, I didn't say that. Just like him now. I'm going to check some of the comments and see what people are saying.
I'm having a nice conversation with you, so I'm enjoying it. So it's no problem. It's been fun so far. It's fine. We good?
Yes.
Tell me when.
Do you want to clap again?
Yes, no. We didn't stop, no?
I can do the clap. Now we good?
No, thank you.
If a man broke into your house, wouldn't you want your husband to protect you?
There's a difference between conservative values.
The video now has got 4.2 million views in 3 days.
And I'm saying
It's got 61,000 comments.
Values or protection, it's what you're demanding in return for that.
Well, I'll give you this. I don't know who you're
That's what I was saying. Somebody says, the fact that she takes it all extremely personal says it all. An activist, not a reporter. She's a journalist.
You and the other women in this room could protect yourself.
She is asking me questions regarding what he said.
Even though I don't know you,
But that's what I said from the start. Bringing a woman to interview Andrew Tate was a bad idea. His team would have opted for a man. I don't know if it's going to work on his favor. I don't know.
You have said that have caused major national organizations, including the police, to worry about you by name. That's what I'm asking.
Somebody says, I'm 19 years old, I'm pregnant with my first child, a boy. And Andrew is someone I will be proud of my son to look up to. The fact this woman so badly wants to pin him as this misogynistic, horrible human being when he is the most honorable man in today's public eye is just sad. Why do so many women hate strong men? Fair point.
Instruction of God to do good things, and I want to make the world a better place. I genuinely believe my legacy is a good legacy, and I believe that eventually, when the legacy media catches up, they're going to understand I'm a good, positive influence. I'm not interested in damaging the world for money, because if I was interested in damaging
There are
the world
some
for money,
fantastic comments. I'm just going to leave that for after.
Stab each other like all the drill artists do.
Or you can make controversial statements online that attract a lot of followers, who you then direct to your website. Where they pay.
I could make
to
jokes.
learn how to be
Sure.
like you.
I mean, I could make jokes online. Who doesn't? I mean, I could make a joke
Are you
online.
saying that all the controversial things you've said are jokes?
No, I'm saying that these organizations and the BBC who are going to sit here and pretend that I am the face of damaging the youth is absolutely garbage. It's completely disingenuous.
I'm sorry, we have agreed to do an interview where you are going to ask questions that are going to give us the opportunity to clarify some things. These are very loaded questions. And so far, I'm sorry, I have arranged this and I'm talking right now. So, these are very loaded questions, and this is not what we discussed, and this is not the conversation that we agreed to.
We were very clear that the questions
You're sitting there and just accusing, we're not here to face new allegations. This has all been discussed, answers have been provided, so if we could please move on from this side of the interview, I would appreciate it.
I would like to hear what Andrew has got to say about the fact that when you make controversial statements, it attracts people to follow you, and then you direct them to your website where they pay you a monthly fee to learn how to be like you. And so the more controversial statements you make, the more money you get.
The fact that that's the path you've outlined to one, my online university, and two, my presence on the internet, the fact that you believe that's the path just shows you've done absolutely zero research. Genuinely
Wait.
zero research.
I thought he just said.
How many of the people who
I thought he just said that he owns
through your social media?
Genuinely zero research.
How many of the people who sign up
the
for Hustlers
online
come to
university.
you through your social media where you direct them to the website?
And Lucy, I encourage you to go
And then
out there,
he
do some genuine research.
now
Watch
says
my
he
videos.
doesn't own the
Watch my
online
videos.
university. So which one is which?
Truly understand
Do you own it
what I'm
or
doing.
don't you
How
own
many
it?
of the people
Again,
who sign up for Hustlers
bad idea for this interview.
$9.99 a month come to you because they see your social media comments?
There's an online school called Hustlers University, which I don't own. Welcome to the smartest decision you've ever made, Hustlers University. This is the smartest thing you've ever done. If you're sitting there wondering, you should already know, but if you're sitting there wondering, is this gonna be worth it or not, buckle the fuck up. This is the smartest thing you've ever done, because this is the first time, besides the PhD course, where I'm gonna lay down all of my knowledge in the world about a particular subject. PhD course was girls. This is gonna be about business. Everything I know about making money. So the way this came around was I was convincing yet another person to not go to university. I have convinced, well, I don't know if I've actually convinced them, but I often say the biggest mistake people make in their lives is traditional education. It's a waste of time, it's a scam. And I always tell people why it's a waste of time, why it's a scam. Like there's the double inflation principle that I coined myself, the fact that more degrees exist every year, which inflates them because they're less valuable because more exist. Plus the price goes up every year, which means it's less valuable because it's more expensive. Welcome to the Tate PhD course. If you've bought this course, which you obviously have, congratulations, you're going to change your life for the better. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm fucking certified. I know I don't look like a pimp right now, I look like a tramp, but I just finished training. I don't owe you motherfuckers nice clothes, so whatever. I actually went out of my way and bought a whiteboard. I influence for, along with many other influencers, and they sign up for your website, which I don't own. And once again, that's nothing to do with me, and you're going to sit here and say that I made a joke. I made a joke online 4 years ago because a woman said that she owned her man's car, and you made a joke, and that means that you, because you have a Bugatti, are the most misogynistic, dangerous man in the world. This is going down a path of absolute insanity. It's not true. None of this is true. I don't hurt people. I don't harm people. I'm genuinely a positive influence.
You are renowned.
I'm renowned
for offensive and controversial.
That's not why I'm renowned. I'm actually renowned. I'm actually renowned for helping young men, because we talk about there's a men's mental health crisis, and we talk about we pretend to care that men are upset. But as soon as I discuss men's issues, it's misogynistic. It doesn't have to be gendered. Just because I believe men have a point of view and men have rights and men are allowed to think and believe and act a certain way that helps them internally, that doesn't mean it's anti-female. In fact, I believe it's actually pro-female. I think when a man is true to his influence and true to his essence and he's good within himself, he's a positive influence in the world and he's positive for the women around him.
So
just because I discuss men's issues, people say, oh, you're anti-woman. I'm not anti-woman, I love women.
Why are so many women saying that when their boyfriends start following you,
they're not.
They experience more control.
So many.
They experience
How many?
more abuse.
How many?
Enough.
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 Well, it's the first time I've heard of it. So, in fact...
One is too many.
Oh, of course, yeah. So, in fact, I've seen thousands and thousands of comments and have endless emails from women praising the fact that their sons are listening to me, praising the fact that their husbands.
The things I'm saying, does it not worry you?
It would worry. It would
You're
worry.
not concerned about
it would worry me if I was genuinely damaging the world. But for you to sit here and say, Andrew, you've become the most Googled man in the world. You have billions of views, and one woman, is now saying that her husband is not the same man she wants him to be. When thousands and thousands.
That love is a love of like you joking. Me apologize. Are you mad? Are you stupid? That is the love. Again, I don't know. Maybe it worked for him, but if I was part of his team, I would have said no to this interview. And even if I would have accepted the interview, I would have requested for a mail to interview him.
You expect me to say to that? That's
sarcastic and jokes.
No.
That's how you explain the comments you make.
For you to sit down.
Would you like to apologise for any of that?
For you to sit down. For you to sit down. It's fine.
The BBC don't actually need Andrew Tate to be relevant. What is he talking about? The BBC was there before Andrew Tate was
It's
born.
easy.
The
For you to
BBC
sit
is
down
still
and
going
say
to be
that
there
one
after
woman
Andrew Tate. So
said
what
that
does he mean
her
by
boyfriend watched an Andrew Tate video,
begging him?
and now he won't do the dishes, or whatever
he talking
your
about?
argument is, and that I'm somehow the worst, most dangerous man in the world because I have a car. It's just disingenuous, and I'm enjoying this interview very much because this shows the world. It's great. It shows the world the truth about the legacy media because they beg me for interviews. They beg me, you have been begging me for months, please, we need to be relevant. And then you come here with loaded questions trying to paint a picture of me, which is completely and utterly false. I am a good positive influence for the world. The things I teach men are stoicism, discipline, self-respect, hard work, obeying authority, listening to your fight coach, working hard in school, making as much money as possible in your job. If you actually watch the things I say, if you actually watch my comments about women, I've done long podcasts for hours long about females, talking about protecting for them, providing for them, how I believe a woman should be treated in a relationship. I've done all of this, but you don't watch any of it, and then you come here and ask me to answer questions I've answered at length thousands of times.
Since you came out of custody, there seems to have been a lot about your charity work.
Correct.
On your social
There's
media.
I've always done the charity work, but now I'm promoting it.
There seems to be a real shift.
Yeah.
I wonder what's behind that.
Well, I've always done the charity work. I've been doing the charity work for years. I believe that it's my legacy to leave a positive influence on the world, and I've been doing charity work for over 5 years. Post my incarceration, my unfair, unjust incarceration, may I add. Post that, I've made it more clear the charity work I'm doing. But this is, once again, very interesting. I spend $25 million a year feeding children. Men, male children, and female children. In
That's true.
Turkey, and Syria, and Iran, and Iraq. I literally spend $25 million a year feeding children. And I'm still the worst man in the world because 4 years ago I made a sarcastic comment.
Because some people would look at that and say, okay, so before you got money from attracting people to your website by making controversial comments, but that might have got you into trouble. And so now you're looking for a new market. You're looking for a new market of followers who are attracted by a different sort of persona.
I've always done the charity work, so that is obviously incorrect. And I have proof that I've always done the charity work, so you're wrong, firstly. I believe that if you have a lot of wealth, you should help people, and I'm helping people.
There's something which I'm trying to really understand with Andrew Tate, because he's all about him doing good in the world. But there are some of his videos that he said that there are so many people that so many men that he's made them to sell their houses, he's made them to empty their bank account, he's made them to do all sorts of things just to send him the money, to send the money to his girls, because they believe that they will. He says some men who are talking to some girls who are really above their standard, but because those girls are telling them that they are the men they want, they're going to spend the rest of their life with them, those men actually gave them all they had. And guess what? Andrew Tate he himself said he and his brother were the ones doing the typing, were the ones talking to the girls, because those girls did not know how to talk to those men.
Me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just famoosers, just laughing and doing this, the titties out, and they were talking to fucking ice cold hustlers. We were taking their money, all of it. If they'd come and say, well, what kind of, all of it. We were fucking milking them dry. Women haven't got a clue how to famoose a dude. They don't have, because they rely on their looks. They don't have any of the intellect. They have no game. Nothing. Had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all. So like, and it's basic shit, right? You'd have a guy.
Did you feel bad or no?
Fuck no. To give a solitary fuck.
Did you tell like?
I don't give a fuck. If you run an out.
Those girls did not know how to convince those men to send them money. So him and his brother would do the talking, the typing, and those girls would just be in front of the camera and pretending as if they are typing. That is not doing good to the world. That is not. Because what is going to happen? Those men will be depressed, and some of them probably have families. Some of them have kids. Those men will end up probably committing suicide. But you are here saying you are genuinely doing good to the world. So is your good selective? Even those girls you claim that you were defrauding them. Those young girls you coerce to be working for your sex company. Is that doing good to the world? Or your good is selective? Anything that gives you money is okay. It's good for you. And yes, you spend money, a lot of money, which is good, to charities. But some of that money is not gotten through the way that God will want you to get money. So you've got some good attributes. You have done some good things. But also, there are some things you've done that you yourself, if somebody does that to your sister, you're not going to be happy. If somebody, let's just turn it around. If somebody fools you, convince you to empty your bank account, sell your house, and send money to them with the expectation of falling in love with you, that is coming. That is what Nigerians are being arrested of every day. That is what is it called? Online dating scam. That is online dating scam. Because somebody is expecting something different. Somebody is expecting to see this woman, and they will never see the woman. That is online dating scam. I don't know why he wasn't arrested a long time ago, because Nigerians are being arrested every day. Not only Nigerians, Africans, Indians. And let me finish this quick and go get some food. But they are doing that.
They describe being bombarded with rape threats, with death threats, trolling by your followers. Would you like to say anything to your followers about how to behave in that situation?
Absolutely, correct. I would love to do that. First things first, I've yet to see a female stand up and argue with me online. I don't ever see hardly any. The only women who message me agree with me. Secondly, I don't think that anybody who disagrees with me, male or female, should be trolled. I don't think they should be insulted or attacked. I think the ideas should be discussed openly and fairly and maturely. It doesn't matter if a man agrees with me or disagrees with me, or a female. I don't think my followers should come along and attack her, and if my followers are doing that, I'm upset by that. But let's make a very important clarification. That's not my followers. That's the internet. If you were to log into any video game lobby, I don't play video games, and someone were to sit there and say something stupid, they would be trolled with similar comments. That's the unfortunate reality of the internet as a whole. That's nothing to do with me. But I encourage all of my followers to engage in open discourse and be fair and honest and talk in a way which is mature. There's no need to troll anybody, male or female.
Okay.
Kathy, anything?
A couple of things. I wonder if it would be worth giving Andrew one more opportunity to consider whether or not he would like to apologise or give an indication of how he feels about the allegations that he has negatively influenced young people in the UK. And secondly, I think we should put on record that this interview is taking place in your house because you're under house arrest. If it were not for that, then we would have chosen another location, I'm sure. We would have negotiated that between us. So I think that's just worth putting on record.
Okay. So, just to put on the record then, you said that you've invited us into your house.
Correct.
We're here because you're under house arrest.
Correct.
If you were free to leave, we would have negotiated a more neutral setting.
Don't you think, as the BBC, it would be very interesting to come here and discuss the fact that I was put in a dungeon for 92 days and then locked in house arrest without charge? Don't you think that's a far more interesting conversation than old YouTube snippets? Don't you think that would be interesting?
You're here under house arrest because there's an ongoing investigation into rape and human trafficking allegations against you.
Correct. I've been incarcerated without charge. And don't you think
the rape allegation
it's been dropped?
Has been incarcerated for.
Correct. So I'm incarcerated without charge, and I think that would be a far more interesting conversation. But then I guess Julian Assange is incarcerated without charge, and nobody's interested in that either. So if you actually want to do some genuine journalism and investigation, we could talk about the fact that an innocent man who has yet to be charged with a crime has had his liberty deprived of him. And I think that would be a far more interesting angle than talking about me being the most dangerous man in the world beside in the car.
And this question about schools being very worried about your influence.
Yes.
Boys in primary school, or boys as young as 11 are quoting you at school, attacking girls, refusing to respect female teachers.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything about that?
I'd like to say a lot. First things first, as I've repeatedly said, and the only reason I keep repeating it is because I'm sure this interview will be edited.
Everybody on the podcast laughed.
Children
but not everybody who is watching from their mobile phones, from their desktops, from their laptops.
I do understand with my massive
People didn't know if you're joking.
I'm now the one of the most influential people on the planet.
You might say some stuff on the podcast and people laugh, but because you claim to be the most influential person in the world, those young kids will take you literally. They'll take you seriously because everything you do, they just believe in Andrew Tate, top G.
The one you mentioned.
Everything you do, everything you say, they take it word for word. They don't know if you're joking. So that's one thing you should really,
as a joke,
you should really watch out.
Everybody laughed. The fact that I could do that on a podcast 5 years ago and
at the end and saying it was fun,
only got 300 views. Now I understand I'm the most influential.
That's him being sarcastic.
Planet. I would be more careful with certain
That's
things
him.
I say.
That's him mocking the journalists.
Do you really believe
That wasn't called for, to be honest. But Andrew Tate will be Andrew Tate.
The most influential man on the face of the planet.
I'm the most Googled man on the planet.
Again, he's not guilty until if he will be proven guilty.
Thanks, Lucy. It was enjoyable.
That wasn't good.
Nice to meet you.
The interview should not have happened. If I was his team, I would advise Andrew Tate to just be cool and wait for everything
I don't want to damage
to
anything.
unfold. Because the court of public opinion, people might go on YouTube, people might comment. People are going to comment. Some people are going to say, yeah, you kill it. Yeah, you completely trash her. You did this, you did that. But that is not going to happen in court. That is not going to. The jury might see it differently. But you know what? We never know. He's a top guy. He's very, very intelligent. He's successful. Everything he's done it so well. But sometimes you just have to talk less and just keep doing what you're doing. Anyway, guys, I've done this video 3 times. Hopefully this time, this one is going to be good. And please make sure you subscribe to my channel, please. And also like my videos. Please, please, please like my videos. And I'll see you guys on the next one. On the next video. Let's be good. Let's have empathy. Let's show love. Let's live our life the best way we can. And if you love, love genuinely. Love from the heart. See you guys on the next one. I'm out.